The world craves your allegiance. It calls out to you, promising approval, popularity and acceptance, if only you would conform to its ways. But let me remind you, the applause of the world is fleeting, and its rewards are hollow. True warriors live for the approval of the king, not for the opinions of man. Paul said it clearly. Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Or am I trying to please people? If I was still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. Galatians 1:10. You cannot serve two masters. The world will tell you to compromise your values, to soften the truth, to prioritize its approval over obedience to God. But warriors, the call of the kingdom is higher. The cost is greater, but so is the reward. The world's approval is a mirage. It may look appealing, but it fades as quickly as it comes. One moment, the crowd may cheer for you, and the next it may turn against you. Look to Jesus. The same crowd that shouted Hosanna as he entered Jerusalem later cried, Crucify him. The applause of man is fickle, and it cannot sustain you. Only the approval of God is eternal. Jesus warned us, woe to you when everyone speaks well of you, for that is how their ancestors treated the false prophets. Luke 6:26. Do not chase after the world's praise, for it often comes at the cost of your integrity and faithfulness to the King. Living to please God will often make you unpopular. The world will ridicule you, reject you, and even hate you for standing firm in the truth. Jesus said, if the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. John 15:18. Warriors, this is not a reason to fear, but a badge of honor. To be rejected by the world is to walk in the footsteps of Christ. There will be moments when you are tempted to compromise, to fit in, to avoid the discomfort of standing alone. But remember this, better to be despised and have a servant than to pretend to be somebody and have no food. Proverbs 12:9. Authenticity in your faith is worth more than the empty approval of the crowd. When you stop living for the approval of man, you will find freedom. No longer bound by the shifting standards of the world, you can walk boldly in the purpose God has set before you. Fear of man will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe. Proverbs 29:25. True freedom comes when you place your trust fully in the King, knowing that his approval is all that matters. Paul understood this freedom. He said, I care very little if I am judged by you or by any human court. Indeed, I do not even judge myself. 1 Corinthians 4:3. Warriors, let this be your mindset. Live to please the King, and let the opinions of man fade into the background. So I challenge you, warriors, where does your allegiance lie? Are you living for the fleeting applause of the world, or for the eternal approval of the King? The world's standards change with the wind, but God's truth stands forever. Choose this day whom you will serve, for you cannot serve both God and man. Do not be swayed by the voices around you. Stand firm in your convictions even when it costs you. Speak the truth in love, even when it is unpopular. Live boldly for the kingdom, knowing that your reward is not in this world, but in the one to come. Well done, good and faithful servant, is the only praise that truly matters. Warriors, the path of righteousness is narrow, and the world will try to pull you from it. But your mission is clear. Live for the King, not for the crowd. Stand firm in his truth. Reject the fleeting approval of man, and press on toward the eternal glory that awaits you. The world's applause may fade, but the King's approval is forever. Rise up, warriors, and let your allegiance be to him alone.